But since this whole story came up again, people were talking about Jeffree, tweeting at Jeffree, and pretty much wondering why he wasn't saying anything. What's crack? It's VangelinaSkov. Today we are going to be talking about the whole situation involving Jeffree Star and Dahvie Vanity from Blood on the Dance Floor. I'm going to be giving a full timeline from start to finish of what happened with both of these people, as condensed and concisely as I can. Before we actually get into that though, just a couple of things to say. First of all, please subscribe and click the bell button to get notifications when I upload. Thank you. The other thing I wanted to say is I'm trying really hard to speak louder. I am following everybody's advice to move my mouth more, to just be louder. I'm working on my actual audio as I'm editing it, but I do go back and I do edit the videos and I know how they sound and I make them as loud and as clear as I can, but there's only so much that I can do. So hopefully I'm gonna learn how to speak louder, something that's very difficult for me. And when I used to work customer service, I had like chronic laryngitis, I guess, from speaking so loud constantly for 8 hours a day or longer. And I always had a really quiet voice, so now it's just worse from customer service. So I am speaking as loud as I can. Thank you for your understanding. But I think I've talked about my sound and you subscribing to me enough for the start of a video, so let's actually get into it. Did I really say let's get into the video? I really said let's get into the video. Who do I think I am? So if you just know Jeffree Star from his YouTube channel and his makeup line, you probably don't know that he started off in music and on MySpace. That's actually where I first knew him from. I used to follow him back when I was a young child, although not a young child, like a teenager. And I was actually late to finding out that he had a YouTube channel because I kind of, at that stage of my life, thought that gaming YouTube was the only YouTube. But yes, he did used to make music. Around this time, he was collaborating with a few people and a few different groups. One of these groups was Blood on the Dance Floor, who, if you were an emo or scene teenager in like 2010, you know who Blood on the Dance Floor are. They weren't very good, but we all knew they existed. I actually only knew about them because of Jeffree Star, but I could not get into them. It's really not the music for me, but it was like the essence of scene kid music. So if you were a scene kid, you know what this was. And you'll also know the lead singer of Blood on the Dance Floor was Dahvie Vanity. So with Jeffree Star and Blood on the Dance Floor collaborating, they did a couple of songs together, they even went on tour together, and him and Dahvie were admittedly good friends. But around 2009 and 2010, a lot of accusations started to come up about Dahvie. So a lot of allegations started to come up about Dahvie that he had been assaulting or coercing women and underage girls into sleeping with him. And it wasn't just one person that said this. This was a lot of women and minors coming out and saying that this had happened to them. Although back at this time, social media wasn't as big as it is now, so the story wouldn't have been as widespread. That and Blood on the Dance Floor weren't really that famous, but people in those circles were hearing about it. And now this is where Jeffree Star gets involved. In August of 2010, Jeffree tweeted out that he would no longer be supporting Dahvie because of the things that he'd seen him do on tour. Most notably, he said that he had seen Dahvie take underage girls back to his hotel room, and you can guess where that's going. He followed this all by calling him names and saying that he wouldn't associate with him, wouldn't support him, all those kind of things. And you'd think that might be it. But then in 2011, Jeffree tweeted about Dahvie and his music and music they'd been making together and how they were friends. All of these kind of things. So completely ignoring the tweets that he'd made the year prior to that. They then did make more music together and went on tour together in 2012. And it seemed like a lot of people didn't really notice about this whole backtracking situation. But then in 2013, Jeffree tweeted about their friendship, and one Twitter user commented on that tweet asking if they were friends, why did Jeffree make false allegations about Dahvie? Jeffree said nothing to this. But Dahvie did respond and said that Jeffree had apologized to his face for the false allegations. Despite this, the people that had come forward about Dahvie hadn't taken back what they had said. They were still adamant that what they were saying was true about him. And as well as that, more people were coming forward to tell their stories of what they had faced at the hands of Dahvie. Now, this story kind of went away until recently. People have started picking up on it again, and I don't know who was the first person to start talking about this again. The first thing I saw about it was Lizzie said something in a video she made about Jeffree. Although the video was about something else entirely, she just kind of mentioned it. I don't know where she saw it from or if she was the first person to start talking about it, but if anybody knows, you can tell me down in the comments. But since this whole story came up again, people were talking about Jeffree, tweeting at Jeffree, and pretty much wondering why he wasn't saying anything, especially considering how outspoken he is normally and how quick he was to accuse James Charles of similar things not that long ago. Despite not saying anything publicly, Jeffree did actually DM another YouTuber called Petty Page, and in those messages he said he never saw anything illegal, but he would love to see Dahvie go to jail for the things that he's done, that it's disgusting, and all of this. So here we have Jeffree originally saying he saw illegal things and doesn't support Dahvie. Then later on saying they're friends and apologizing to Dahvie for false accusations. Then more recently this month saying that he did do illegal things but he never saw him do illegal things and he wants to see him go to jail. Besides tweets, it seems like we don't actually have much else to go on at this stage, except for a recent interview done by Pastel Bell. In this, she interviewed somebody by the name of Damien Leonhardt. I wasn't sure how to pronounce that. Formerly known as Jesse Slaughter. Young generations don't do shock horror about the name. Back in the scene emo days, we all had names like that. I had Eva Epitaph or Alex Abattoir. Most notably Eva Epitaph, though. Terrible memories. But in this interview, Damien said that they were the person Jeffree was referring to when he said that he had seen Dahvie take underage girls to his hotel room. Apparently they were 11 years old at the time. We don't actually have much evidence besides their word on this, but you can make your own opinions from it. We don't really have any reason to believe that they're lying or any evidence to say that they're telling the truth. As well, during the interview, Damien said that they believe Jeffree's reasons for backtracking and saying that Dahvie hadn't actually done anything wrong was because Jeffree was broke and needed the money. And we do know at that time that Jeffree did have money issues. But again, these are just accusations or opinions without much evidence to really go off of. As it stands right now, all these things about Dahvie are still just allegations. He's not been convicted of anything, and Jeffree has yet to publicly comment on the situation. So, as we stand, this is the full story. But it's not where I want to leave the video. I have a couple of things I want to say about this whole situation, and it's not going to be my opinion on did Dahvie do it or did Jeffree conceal it and all of this kind of stuff. What I want to say is that this is not a Jeffree Star drama. He's had dramas with other beauty gurus, with Kardashians and Jenners and everybody. With everybody. But this is not one of his dramas. This is about the protection of children. And if Jeffree could have done something to help that, he should have. But this isn't about him. This is about a child predator, or an alleged child predator. And where we're focusing our energies on Jeffree Star and what's he done today and what can we hate him for, let the stans defend him and all this stuff, we should be focusing our energies on trying to figure out if Dahvie Vanity is actually a child predator. And if he is, he needs to go to prison. I know it makes these sort of stories easier to digest if they're turned into tea or into YouTube drama, but situations like these are much more serious than that, and I think we need to take them much more seriously than how can we make this about Jeffree Star, or how can we bring up the James Charles controversy so that we can talk about more YouTubers in relation to this. That's all I want to say. Anyway guys, now you know the full story from start to finish in a condensed, concise version. If I left anything out, please put it in the comments so other people can see it. You can also let me know your opinions on this whole situation if you would like to down below. And as I said before, please subscribe and click the bell button, share and like and do things and have a nice day and maybe dance for a while. I don't know. I really need to come out with a proper outro. Come up with. Maybe one day. But for now, that's the outro that we're going with. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.